And we're live. What's good, y'all? It's your girl, Indah G, in the house. Back again with another episode of the Indah G Show, where educational and entertaining gets a little explicit. Full episodes are available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Noise, Resso, wherever else you can find us. PSA for those of you that need this, our full episodes here on YouTube come with automatic English closed captions that have been reviewed and revised by the team to ensure accuracy for those of you that need it, of course. And so, yeah, let's get started. Peter is here. Say hi, Peter.
Hi.
Hi. Also, we're waiting for my spaghetti because I'm hungry as fuck. Yeah, I mean, I guess just to preface like why I'm making this episode. I mean, obviously because of how much sex education content that I make, I get a lot of people in my DMs and in the comments asking me questions related to sex and porn. And a lot of people in my DMs, they be opening up to me about their struggles with pornography, addiction, and like they're also asking me for like sex tips and all that type of stuff, which I'm like, I was telling Peter, I get a lot of men in my DMs, like they're like asking me how much I charge for sex. I got men in my DMs, they're like, oh, I'm looking for a sugar baby and all that, and like, sorry, I'm using a fake account, it's because I don't want my wife to know and all that type of shit. They're asking me like how much I charge, like blatantly, they're like, how much for one night? The message kayak gitu. So I get a lot of men in my DMs doing that shit, unfortunately, but I also get a lot of men in my DMs. They're opening up to me about their struggles with pornography addiction, with sex addiction. It's really common. I was talking about this with Peter off the camera just now, right? Because a friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours, I don't know about now. I think he's better now, but for many, many years, and I've known this man for many, many years. Peter knows him through me. Peter knows him for like not that long, but I've known this man for like a long period of time. And his porn addiction was bad. Bad. And then Peter, he said something really interesting. Peter was like, tapi dia kelihatannya normal-normal aja.
He looks so normal.
Ya kan? Ya kan, he looks normal. He looks like
exercising a lot.
Yeah, he exercises a lot.
Kayak kalau ngomong juga lebih kayak orangnya apa ya, kalau ngomong tertata, pinter gitu kelihatannya.
Yeah, he's educated.
Well-mannered.
Yeah, well-mannered. Definitely, he exercises a lot. He has a girlfriend. He has a 9-to-5 job. Like, he has all of these things that would point towards like a regular, like normal, healthy lifestyle. But bro, when them doors close, that's when it happens. Like, that's when it gets really, really bad. And it's not just him, like this one friend that me and Peter were talking about right now. Like, it's just a lot of the men that I have in my life growing up have struggled with this so severely. That's part of the reason why I wanted to make this episode. It's not just because I have a lot of men in my DMs asking me about these sort of topics, but it's also just, it comes from also a place of, not that I personally relate to it, but well, yeah, me too. Like, I've also gone through porn addiction, but that was when I was like 15, 16. Well, I guess that doesn't make it any less worse, to be honest. But I will say my porn addiction, and I've talked about this briefly before, my porn addiction when I was 15, 16, I wouldn't say it's like how a lot of my guy friends are with their porn addiction. Like, when I was 15, 16, and it was the Tumblr era, I consumed a lot of porn through Tumblr, which I find very funny and kind of like ironic, just because back when I was 15, 16 and I was on Tumblr, I ran a Disney blog, a Disney and a Harry Potter blog. I had two, right? Under one account, I had two websites, one for Disney, one for Harry Potter. But then, so it's like I'm reblogging and I'm making all this content that's so fluffy and cute and like wholesome. It's like, oh, Disney, oh, Harry Potter, oh, sparkly cursor. And then behind the scenes, I'm like looking up black and white image of anal. That was me when I was 15 or 16. But I will say most of my guy friends, when they have like a very severe porn dependency or straight up like a porn addiction, they watch porn every day, like consistently. With me, it was never like that. I've never been the type to watch porn every day. My thing was always that when I do consume porn, I consume so much of it in one go, number one. So like, for example, like the one day that I do watch porn, I will go at it for like 7 hours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Not go at it like I'm jerking myself off. Okay, I mean, yeah, sometimes like that would happen, but I'm not jerking myself off for 7 hours, as in like I would consume porn for like 7 hours. That's like an entire school day, bro, of like me watching porn. But the other thing too is that and this is actually, like, we'll talk about this a little bit more, but one of the symptoms, one of the telltale signs of a developing porn addiction is when, you know how an addiction works, right? Because you're a biology student and everything. And like with addiction, the dopamine threshold keeps increasing. The threshold for you to get the same amount of pleasure, the same amount of high, keeps increasing and increasing. So you have to keep upping your dosage. So that's how an addiction works. Porn is the exact same way. So with me, what was happening when I was 15, 16 is that when I do consume porn, like my threshold would increase very quickly in the sense that the genres that I was consuming just kept getting even more degenerate and more degenerate and more degenerate. Like, okay, for those of you that don't understand what the word degenerate means, degenerate just means like very bad and fucked up. Like, just get like, you go from like plain old vanilla sex, like role play, to like double penetration and gangbangs and orgies, and then suddenly you're on the part of Pornhub where it's like the machine like violently shoving a dildo like up the girl's pussy or something, like it, and then like fucking rape kinks and shit, just degenerate, right? So that was me, like 15, 16. With a lot of men, yeah, it's the same, but then I feel like with a lot of men, for some reason, I don't know if it's a difference between like men and women and how we're programmed, maybe, or maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me, right? But a lot of my guy friends, like, they would watch every day. Or it's more so like they are stressed every day, because I mean, obviously life is stressful. Even when you're still in school, like maybe you have to stress a homework or whatever, right? And then for a lot of my guy friends, like their stress reliever would be to watch porn and to masturbate to porn. That's one thing, like with me when I was 15, 16, like porn was never something that I accessed to relieve my stress. Did you ever do that? Like, yeah. I guess for a lot of men, like stress relief is, yeah, maybe. Yeah. But this episode is coming from a personal place of like, yeah, I've been there, done that. But then I don't think it affected me as bad as how it's affected a lot of my other guy friends. Like when I tell you, for a lot of the men that I've met, it bordered the line of being crippling. Like I'm being for real. So, and also just to really raise more awareness surrounding this topic, a lot of people really take for granted just how common porn addiction is and how it ruins so many men's lives. Like, but it's just, you don't see it because a lot of these men, like, they're so good at hiding it, like our friend. But when them doors close, bro, like it's dark, like they be fighting some real shitty demons behind those doors. The more research I do about the porn industry, the more I learn about it, the more anti-pornography I become. I hate how so mainstream pornography is. Like, a lot of people conflate being anti-porn with being sex negative. And that's definitely not, no. I am the most sex positive person. Kenapa?
Ya, itu beda jauh.
Beda banget, jauh. Like, I'm the most sex positive person out there. Sex and porn are not the same thing. Like, that's one thing that people gotta keep in mind. And I hate that we live in a time where watching porn, one of the more common ways of people getting sex education is through porn. I really hate that. I hate that we live in a time where watching porn is so normalized, especially for men. Like, look, we can talk about how unfair it is that when women do it, then we get vilified a lot more. And then men, they get to do it under the guise of, oh, it's because...
namanya juga cowok.
Yeah, namanya juga cowok. Oh, like, that's just how men are. But actually, in actuality, itu buat cowok juga nggak bagus. Like, that's also detrimental to men. You know, a lot of men, they've been sold on this very narrow prescription of what it means to be masculine. And, you know, there's a lot of things that comes into that, right? Like that narrow prescription of like, oh, to be masculine, you gotta be violent. You gotta, have sex with like 100 different women, like, and enjoy it, you know? And part of it too is like, oh, if you're a real man, you watch porn. What I want to focus on today is the detrimental effects on your health, not even just your mental health, but how even starting from your mental health, it can start to affect your physical health. People really take that shit for granted. But like, let's actually get started with this video. Like, what is a porn addiction and how do I know it? Because a lot of men in my DMs, I get the sense with like how they say some things that they don't know that they have a porn addiction when it actually is a porn addiction. As in to say, like, they realize that there's a problem, but they can't put a word to what the problem is. And that word, well, 2 words, is porn addiction. Here are some warning signs that I got from recovery.org. It's a pretty long list, and I'll leave the link down below in the description for those of you that maybe want to read through the whole thing. But I'm picking out like the top 4 that, in my opinion, are the most common symptoms that we see, especially amongst many young men today, and also the ones where I think people they take for granted the most. Like they sort of just glance over them when they happen, not realizing that these are symptomatic of a much larger problem at play. The first one is the one that I mentioned that was going on with me and my friends, where it's increased porn consumption. But it's not even just in quantity, but in quality. Like, not quality, but it's like, it's not just that your porn consumption, like how many times you're watching porn in a day or how many days you're watching porn is increasing, but also like the category keeps getting more degenerate and more degenerate. It keeps having to get more extreme because the old shit that you used to get off to isn't working anymore. And I'm pretty sure that falls under the category of PII, which stands for porn-induced impotence, which actually a little bit of a Indah to Peter, Indah to followers churhat session here. I think that's what's starting to happen with me lately. I don't know if I should like just interject it into this part of the episode, but essentially what's been happening to me, I realize, is that, okay, I'll give you like the TLDR version of what's been happening to me, right? I don't think it's a porn addiction. I'm just exhibiting one of this symptom of, I think, what is many years of porn consumption that has finally caught on in terms of like the quote unquote negative side effects. I'm not really sure if this is negative. This is very recent, Peter. I haven't told you about this. Lately, what's been happening is that I can't jerk off to porn anymore. Like, it doesn't arouse me anymore, which, okay, some might say that that's a good thing because then it's like, okay, now you really don't have any reason to be consuming porn, and consuming porn scientifically has scientifically been proven to, like, it literally decreases brain matter, and it's like for a whole bunch of other reasons, really bad for your mental health. So I guess some would say it's a good thing, right? I'm not complaining at all because I've stopped watching porn. Like, I've stopped consuming porn. It's more so that I can't get off to the usual content that I would normally get off to. Like, it just doesn't work anymore. So I'm like, okay, that's interesting because I'm exhibiting this symptom, this porn-induced incompetence, where, well, porn-induced incompetence, it literally means the inability to get hard or get wet and orgasm as a result of excessive porn consumption, right? That's what PII stands for. So I'm like, okay, this is interesting because I don't watch porn that frequently, but again, like, more so every time I do watch porn, the categories just keep going up and up and up, like more and more extreme, right? So I think now, this is all those years of me doing that, it's finally caught up. Whereas now, I can't get off to the same thing anymore. But I can still, okay, my saving grace, I was starting to panic about that a little bit, not gonna lie, because I'm like, oh my God, there's something wrong with me, right? I'm like, oh my God, like all my years of like porn and like fucking so many men, like, oh my God, it's like screwed my brain up, my hormones up. But no, I'm fine. I can still jerk off to my imagination. So I'm fine. It's just porn doesn't work for me anymore. Is what I'm saying. But that is definitely a clear sign of porn addiction at play, or like that you're about to you're developing a porn addiction, is that your old shit doesn't hit anymore. Then the next one. This one is literally, at this point, this is straight up a porn addiction, no debate. If you feel withdrawal from not watching porn.
Kayak ada yang kurang.
Bukan kurang, withdrawal. Do you know what withdrawal is?
Withdrawal tuh tarik kan, bukan?
Well, to withdraw money, tarik uang emang. But like withdrawal means, I get, withdrawal means
menutup diri, bukan?
No, withdrawal means, you know, when somebody has an addiction, let's say they're addicted to cocaine, and they don't get cocaine, they start feeling symptoms, physical symptoms.
Sakau.
I don't know what that means.
Okay.
Probably, but language barrier here, guys. But yeah, a withdrawal means like, if you don't have access to the thing that you're addicted to, you start exhibiting physical symptoms. A lot of it can include nausea, headache, but also, those are physical symptoms, but even psychological symptoms or cognitive symptoms like difficulty focusing or just irritability. Like, for example, my friend back in high school, actually, like one of my best friends, she had a caffeine addiction, and you can tell. So she was trying to get off caffeine. Oh my God, when I tell you, it's like the devil came out of her. This one morning, And I don't even remember what the other classmates said, but then like the classmates said something, satu kata kayak gitu. Terus my friend, the one with the caffeine addiction, immediately just started like ballistic, like because she was just so irritated because she had gone, I think like a day or two without caffeine and she wasn't having it. So kayak gitu, ngerti kan? Yeah. That's what withdrawal is. Yeah, and a lot of men experience that with cigarettes. Oh, definitely. Cigarettes. But a lot of men also experience that with porn. Porn addiction withdrawal will create uncomfortable and upsetting mental and physical health symptoms. So some of my guy friends that have had porn addictions before, and their withdrawal symptoms, a lot of the times it's just really bad anxiety, actually. It's really scary how it's like, you're literally anxious throughout the entire day, not able to really function and focus because you've gotten into the habit of every time, I guess that when they do feel anxious, they would just jerk off. Yeah. And then like if they don't get to do that, then like all that anxiety just builds up. I've even heard stories of men, like when it comes to withdrawing from porn, it's also not being able to sleep. I think it's more so, I don't know if that's like a withdrawal symptom, but more so like a lot of men, like before they sleep, they jerk off, right? So it's like, okay, it's more of a routine thing. Like in your head, it's like, oh, you associate jerking off before bed with sleeping. So if you skip that part, you can't sleep. If you go out throughout your whole day, and this one is, I hear very common from a lot of my guy friends, you go through the whole day, and at the back of your mind, what lingers is this desire to log into Pornhub. Well, nobody logs into Pornhub, nobody makes an account, but well, maybe some people do. But like, if you have this lingering desire to like go on Pornhub, if that's what you're thinking after a long day at school or at work, and the first thing that you're thinking of is, oh, I want to watch porn, that's definitely a sign. And if it's like not just once or twice in a blue moon, but like consistently, that is an issue, my guy. The third one, and this one actually is, I have a story with this one. Loss of attraction to your partner. No, this is not the story. Hold on. This next one, yeah, this one I think is probably the most devastating one. Loss of attraction to your partner. As in, so many men, and I've been on Reddit forums and other online forums where men anonymously, openly talk about these things. It really does happen. It's so sad. It really does happen. And I have a story with this one. There was this one guy, I've told it before in an episode, right? I'm going to insert it in here as well. There was this one guy that I was one time hooking up with. Well, we were planning to hook up. Come the time when we were actually in the moment of it and we were going to do stuff, he couldn't get hard. And then I asked him, well, okay, is it me? Am I the problem? It's me. Hi. And then he was like, no, it's not you. It's just like, I've had a long day. I'm tired, all that. And then I'm like, okay, I'm not going to be a bitch about it, right? Because, okay, if a man is tired and he can't get it up, like, I can't blame him. And then a few days later, he messaged me and he was like, Indah, I have a confession to make. And I was like, oh, shit, like, what? And he was like, actually, it was you. And then I was like, what do you mean? And then he was like, he gave me this, like, fucking paragraph. Essentially, what he was saying is that I wasn't as hot and that the moment building up to when we were in the bedroom, like, you know, our entire night having dinner and all that type of stuff, and like our interaction with each other, like all of that wasn't as hot in real life as he had imagined it in his head. And so, of course, it hurt a little bit, right? Like, I'm not gonna lie, it kind of sting my feelings. I was like, okay, so you're basically saying that I'm not as hot. Yeah. And then he was like, no, not really. Like, it's not just you. It's happened to me with a lot of other women too. Like when it happened with you again a few nights ago, like that was kind of what sealed the deal in terms of like, yeah, no, I think I have a porn addiction problem. And then he started opening up to me about how he's been watching a lot of porn. And basically how, because he was basically opening up to me about how I have a porn addiction. I have all of these fantasies of how my sex life should be, like in my head, of like from all these porn videos, and then come the time I'm doing it in real life with real women, I can't get off anymore. And so I was like, okay, shit, that is bad. Like that is probably, in terms of all of my guy friends and guy acquaintances that have struggled with porn addiction / dependency, that is the worst one I have ever seen / heard of. Oh God, if that were me, I would cry. I would actually cry. And actually, like when I was what I told you about just now, like lately, I've been realizing that I've been showing signs of porn-induced impotence, but more so in the sense that I can't get off to the same porn that I used to. Bro, I had a moment of panic where I was like, okay, wait, this is what's gonna happen to me? Like, I'm just gonna, come the time I'm trying to do it with the man I love, come the time I try to do it with the man I love, I can't do it anymore because I gave it all away to all these men that never fucking mattered. You know, I started having that fucking spiral. I started spiraling, bro. But no, I'm fine. I tested it out a few days ago. I'm fine. But okay, I don't love him, but I like him enough. But whatever. But make no mistake, like this isn't just an issue with men, even though the majority of people suffering from it are men. But even in my own personal experience, as well as like personal anecdotes from like my girlfriends, whenever we do locker room talks, women are just as likely to experience the same issues. And it can and it does affect women. I think it's just that it's in lesser numbers and in a little bit of a different way. What I've experienced and what a lot of my girlfriends have experienced is with, like, how do I say this? Like, the sex was great. Oh, Shanika, never mind. Oh, my God. Like with me, in my personal experience, the sex was always great. Like, it's good. Like, I feel the pleasure. I was aroused. But it's more so that a tiny part of me at the back of my mind would always be a little bit disappointed that it didn't measure up to the extraness and the raunchiness of what I would normally watch. Does that make sense? Like, in my head, I'm imagining something a lot more fantastic.
Fantastic,
yeah. Like literally the word fantasy, fantastic. I'm imagining something more fantastic. And in real life, it's not like that. That's not to say that it was bad and I didn't feel pleasure. I did, but then it's just, but it's like, why do I have that expectation? Where do I get it from? And then I was in therapy and then I realized, oh, because I got it from porn, you know? So that's a much more, I think that is more common. The whole losing attraction to your partner thing, that is, itu udah extreme banget. Like that is so, if you get to that point, that is already so extreme. But for a lot of people, it's more so that, oh, you expect that the sex would be so fucking fantastic. And in reality, it doesn't measure up to it. And you get a little bit disappointed. The last one is erectile dysfunction. Yeah, erectile dysfunction. That's the most common one for men. And yes, the science has shown that porn can induce erectile dysfunction in men. It's called PIED, or porn-induced erectile dysfunction. It's actually a thing. It's actually a thing, you guys.
Sama selain erectile dysfunction ada another ED sih. Apa? Ejakulasi dini.
Early ejaculation. Pre-ejaculation?
Premature. Early. Ya, kalau ejaculationnya tuh early.
I think it's called, you mean like fast?
Premature kayaknya. Kayaknya premature ejaculation. Ya bahasa Inggrisnya.
Oh, hold on. Oh yeah. Premature ejaculation occurs in men when semen leave the body sooner than wanted during sex.
Ya. Soalnya biasanya kalau mereka nonton porn kebanyakan, terus kan mereka jerk off gitu kan, coli.
Yeah.
Nah itu otaknya kan kepengennya cepet-cepet soalnya takut ketahuan siapa atau gimana, jadi ya udah cepet keluar gitu.
Oh, like in when they're watching porn, they gotta do it quickly because they don't want to get caught. Oh, and so come the time they're doing it in real life with a woman, they can't last long.
Yep.
Interesting.
Itu kalau itu sempat dulu ada yang curhat di internet gitu, ada yang jawabin.
And also there's also the other side to it. Kok aku malahnya pikirnya kayak gini ya. It's a lot of men that, especially when they're over masturbating because they're excessively watching porn, they're definitely not doing anything productive in their life. Like let's say exercising, right? You need to be in good physical shape to like last long in bed. So a lot of these men, it's like, yeah, they waste, to be honest, like they waste their time, their days just watching porn, jerking off all alone in their rooms. They're not hitting the gym. They're not eating properly. They're probably not sleeping properly either. And so it's like you're not in the, you put yourself in this really uncomfortable situation. And so basically you put yourself in this physical condition where you are just physically not equipped to last long in bed. Yeah. I would actually, like, this is not from recovery.org. This is me, like, I'm talking here. I would throw in the list of signs of porn addiction as well. Like, it's not mentioned in recovery.org, but I would throw in the list of signs that you have a porn addiction to also be not being able to masturbate without porn. Yeah, nggak sih? Yeah, nggak sih? Peter made a face when I said that. I'm like, yeah, right? Like, if you can't masturbate without porn. Because here's the thing, right? Like, don't conflate the conversation of masturbating and porn. Just because, of course, like, when you watch porn, obviously, what are you going to do? You're going to masturbate, right? But it's just, I'm not saying that you should never masturbate. Like, no. I'm just saying, you shouldn't really be masturbating to porn. I understand, look, I get it. Okay, I've been there, done that. I understand. I'm not being a hypocrite. I understand that, yeah, sometimes, like, you want to watch porn. And okay, fine. But it's like, can you masturbate without porn? Right? And I've talked to some guys, not a lot, albeit, but like, I've talked to some guys where they say, yeah, no, I can't do that. They've gone to a point where they can't masturbate just to, like, their own, like, imagination, like, their own sexual fantasies, like, they can't do it. Well, and also, here's the other thing. A lot of men, they turn to porn because they can't put themselves out there to get a girlfriend. I'm so sorry. That's the cold hard truth. And the numbers now are proving what I've been saying for a really long time. Because in a lot of countries like Japan, South Korea, China, even in the US, we're experiencing a sex recession. And it's a lot of these young men that literally all they do, I'm so sorry, this is going to sound so harsh, but all they do is just stay at home. They're probably living in their mama's basements. They don't got a job. They don't got money. They don't got bitches. Like, they stay in their mom's basement or in their rooms playing video games, jerking off to porn. And a lot of that is they're wallowing in a lot of, I think, self-pity and anger and resentment towards how they don't know how to put themselves out there to go find a real partner. Okay, amongst other things like financial stress, of course, like, you know, life's a fucking bitch. I get it, right? But a lot of men, they turn to porn for sexual and maybe even romantic gratification because that's the only thing that they can get because they don't know how to do it with real women in the real world.
Yeah.
Ow. I know a lot of people are gonna ask, this is the closing conversation, so between you and me. I know a lot of people are gonna ask, so can I still watch porn?
Kalau pertanyaannya kayak tadi, can I still watch porn?
Yeah.
Yes. Why not?
Given all the things that you know about porn and how it ruins your mental health, though?
Yeah. I think yes. Can you still watch? Yes. Tapi ya ada self controlnya kan?
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I agree with you. Despite all of the horrible things, because see, here's the thing that people need to realize: like, sex in so many societies is so taboo that people forget sex and porn, subsequently porn. Sex and porn are vices just like any other vice. It's no different from smoking or drinking alcohol or doing drugs or quite literally anything. Binge eating even. Binge eating? Makan kebanyakan. Yeah. Like, a lot of people, they depend on food to, like, get that dopamine hit. Like, it's a vice, it's an addiction just like any other. And me personally, like, I believe that nothing is inherently detrimental, but it's more so about the volume of how much you're consuming and also the intentions behind consuming. Yeah. Because if it's, hey, look, if it's once in a blue moon, it's been a while, you're in a long distance relationship, and your partner's not here, and it's like you down bad, like, you down so fucking bad. Well, rather than you sleeping with some other bitch that's not your partner and, you know, committing fucking adultery, like, I would rather you just watch porn. with context. You can watch porn with context, but that's really hard to say because a lot of people don't know what the context should be. There's still so much more to talk about porn. It's just, I think I'm reaching the end of where I can talk about it alone, and like I need to start bringing in people to join in on the conversation. So that is what I'm gonna do soon. But then in terms of like solo episodes and in terms of like educational, informational episodes surrounding porn and the porn industry, let me know if y'all want more down below. And as always, that is it for this episode. Wait, what was I? Yeah. But anyways, that is it for this episode. Make sure to like, comment, and fucking subscribe, you cunts. Peter, say bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
See ya.
Goodbye. My pasta's downstairs. I'm hungry. Let's go.